Hi, my name is Charlie McGrath. I'm the founder of WideAwakeNews.com and a host on the Rinse Radio Network. Be warned, the economy is going to collapse again. There's absolutely no question. There's no doubt. It is guaranteed 100% going to occur. How do we know this? Because we're on the exact same rinse and repeat cycle that we've seen year after year. A cycle that makes a very few institutions and a very few individuals completely whole and healthy and rich beyond their wildest dreams and puts their failure onto the backs of the people of the world. This is what happens when we give total control of sovereignty, total control of our financial future to a bunch of central banks, and namely institutions, private institutions that make up the ownership of these central banks. When we give them absolute control of the nations of the world's economy, we end up with them being the only ones that are whole and healthy, and we, the people, the ones who take the brunt of their failure by design, is my opinion. By design, we are meant to be here begging for them to take action in order to rescue this economy. But it isn't going to be rescued. The can isn't going to be kicked down the road a few more decades. There is going to come a point in our very, very near future when the realization is unleashed onto the people of the world that the emperor has no clothes, that the debt cannot be repaid, and that the ones holding the wealth of the world are the ones that brought us here, and the people who are sitting here looking down the barrel of their tyrannical control will have no choice but to either rise up and demand justice or to take what they are given. Look, there is no question of if this is going to occur. It is only a matter of when. So we need to look at the headlines to find out when this is going to occur. If we pull headlines right out of our mainstream business media today, we see the exact same things being talked about prior to the 2008 collapse. An example, a rising stock market encourages investors to go deep into debt in order to buy stock. Margin debt is at an all-time high. Another headline, either markets continue to rise dramatically to make these margin loans good, or we face tremendous selling in any down move in the market. The exact same quotes could be pulled out of today's headline and plugged in right before the crisis of 2008, right before the crisis of 1999. It's a rinse and repeat all over again. The major difference is this. We're a nation that has spent trillions of dollars destabilizing governments around the world. We're a nation that has spent trillions of dollars bailing out banks around the world. And we have no real wealth left, other than the indicators that we're all supposed to grab onto and pretend that the economy is getting better. And that namely is the Dow Jones. So if we look at the Dow Jones, 16,000 points, all-time high. If we look at that compared to something simple like the participation rate, the number of people in this population who are actually going to work, it should be a lockstep move to the upside with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. But it's not. It's falling through the floor. It's back to the 1980s level. Or if we look at the number of people who are unemployed and long-term unemployed, that number should be falling. But it isn't. It's continuing to be a 40-week endeavor for somebody who's unemployed to go out and find a job. Personal income of the average person in this country, it isn't following what the stock market's doing. It is falling through the floor. And one key indicator that nobody's talking about is the velocity of money. We have the Federal Reserve buying billions and trillions of dollars worth of fraudulent failure from too big to fail institutions that shouldn't even have business licenses on this planet anymore, yet they're making record profit hand over fist. The velocity of money, the money that the Federal Reserve is printing, then inevitably this $16.69 trillion in sovereign debt we're going to be responsible for as a people. This money is going into these institutions, but it's certainly not flowing back out into the economy. That's why the velocity of money is at historic lows. You see, this system is going to come crashing down, I believe, by design. And at the end of the day, when that does occur, there is going to be a tremendous push, a tremendous movement from these same individuals, same institutions who brought us here to give them ultimate power and ultimate control, ultimate global financial governance. This is what has been talked about for decades. This is the agenda that is being implemented to achieve that goal. If you don't believe it, it is time to wake up and realize where we're at. We're not going to continue this collapse one day, print a bunch of free money, give it to a bunch of banks, and that everything's going to be okay for another decade. That cycle is coming to an end. The realization of global depression is what awaits humanity on planet Earth. Stories are attached. That's all I got.